Good morning, folks. This is Dan Downey from Downey Roofing and General Contracting. I came up on a house to do a measure for a roof, and the young lady who lives here told me that somebody had done a repair, and anyway, I'm going to show you what the repair this gentleman did look like. That's not a repair. If this was repaired, there'd be shingles on top of this, and not 30-pound felt paper, which is not designed to be exposed to the weather at all. And I'm not sure what she paid for this, hopefully not a lot. But if you've seen any of the videos that I do when my work is complete, one of the harder things I have to prove to my owners, and why I take a lot of pictures, is they can't see that I've even worked on their roof. And that's the way it's supposed to look when it's done. To call this a repair is highway robbery, at the very least. Anyway, this is what's called a dimensional shingle. Dimensional shingles have this look of having more than one layer. If you look at them, you can see the shingles are like one laid on top of another one. And this roof is about 22 years old, so it's getting to the point of where it needs to probably be replaced. Of course, if we just repair this roof for this young lady, we'll be glad to repair it correctly, and we're going to give her that option, which we always do. We never try to send a client to the bank for a re-roof unless we have to, or they decide they want to. Another interesting thing about this roof, and we'll talk about it while we're up here, we'll go over some of the mechanics of the roof. These pipes you see sticking through are roof vents, plumbing vents, and what they do is they actually go into the house and into your plumbing system, and they vent out all the sewer gas from the inside of your house to your roof. It actually produces two functions. Number one, it vents out the sewer gas through your roof. Number one. Number two, it also prevents a vacuum of water as it's going through your pipe. You can imagine if you had a lot of water going through your pipe, your drain pipe, and at one time you would actually pull a vacuum on that line, and that water wouldn't go anywhere if it didn't have a place to be able to pull oxygen in to keep the pressure neutral. And that's what these pipes also do. That's primarily what they do, actually. And you'll see them on roofs. Funny enough, on this roof, this vent is installed properly. It's under the shingles, and it's probably installed properly. This one is not. Might have been the same fellow who did this repair, I don't know, or person. But this vent is not supposed to go on top of the shingles. You can see what the vent would look like out of the box. It's got a flange on it that's supposed to go under the roofing paper. Roofing paper would go over that. We'd go with tar and membrane, cotton fibered membrane, and then you would go with your shingles, and that has to be lapped properly, or a tile underlayment. But this is the way you incorrectly install a roof vent. You can see the fasteners that were put down to hold the vent in place are rusting. It's going to leak around the flange right here. So just something that has been done completely incorrectly. The roof itself, I've seen worse. It's 22 years old. It's not in horrible condition. These shingle roofs are pretty resilient. Usually fixable pretty easy, especially if you can gain access to the attic space, the crawl space. And the last thing I'll talk about, here's another vent. You can see that's a 4-inch vent. That's a 3-inch vent, I'm sorry. It's for a larger pipe. That's probably for the main line coming up from the toilets. These rooftop vents are now illegal in the state of Florida, which is where we are, because during the storms they fly off. You know, they're supposed to have the heat come up and let the heat out of the attic space, which they do, except they are just basically on with a couple of screws. So, you know, you get a 70, 80, 90 mile an hour wind, that thing pops off, and now you got a hole in your roof. That's not only letting water in, it's letting rain in, and pressurizing that roof, causing it to fail where it might not fail. The new vent looks like that. Now that vent is old. It's not a newer vent, but that's what it looks like. It's got non-moving parts. You can see it over there in the other roof right there. It does the exact same function, but it has no moving parts. It has a low profile, and it's attached to the roof so that it's designed not to blow off in a hurricane. As you can see, this is like a ball cap, baseball cap sitting on somebody's head in the storm. It's going to blow off. All right, so this is Dan Downey from Downey Roofing and Contracting. Just a couple of pointers I wanted to go over with you on a shingle roof. This one happens to be dimensional shingles. As you can see, they look like shingles layered on top of each other. 3-tab shingle look like little squares, if you want to know the difference. 3 tabs means it'll look like perfect little squares, where dimensionals will look like this. Again, this is Dan Downey signing off. Have a great day.